Hello everyone, welcome to our third episode of the Inside Regina Project. We are super stoked to be here. We have Shane from the Ultimate Deck Shop with us today.
Shane is an entrepreneur, business owner, and has many different things going on around the city right now. He was just featured on Global News doing a series called What the Deck Are We Building? Really cool show. If you've had the chance to watch it, if you haven't, go and check it out. But today we're bringing Shane here because he's got a really good insight into the business community. And correct me if I'm wrong, but you started kind of just you didn't really have too big of a business to start with, right? You started kind of from scratch, is that correct?
Yeah, my entrepreneur journey, I guess, if you want to call it that, is fairly fresh. I was doing this on the evenings and weekends, so I'm in the decking industry in a couple different ways. I was working at SaskTel in marketing, actually, for the last 8 years before I went out on my own. On the evenings and weekends, I was building decks. So at some point in my life, I decided to build a deck and really enjoyed it, and decided to continue building decks over and over again, and then I got good at it. Mm-hmm. And then eventually sitting in an office job wasn't good enough for me anymore. So that's kind of where my passion began. And then the idea of doing a lumberyard and store was kind of more recent.
Yeah. So what all businesses are you involved in right now?
I own Fresh Decks, which is me completely. That's the one I've had for about 5 years that I was doing on the side while I was at SaskTel as well. And then the Ultimate Deck Shop is about 1.5 years old, and I have a partner in that. So myself and Wade Laurent, he's a high school friend, college friend, 15-year friend that we went into business with, and him and I own that.
And that's the Ultimate Deck Shop has been around for about 1 year.
We opened the doors. The idea happened in October of 2015, and we opened our doors on April 2nd of 2016. So yeah, about 1.5 years.
Cool. So walk us a little bit through the process of saying, I've had enough of my desk job, because I think a lot of us kind of feel that way, but don't actually end up doing anything about it. So how did that all play out?
Yeah, I don't know that it was necessarily that I had enough. I wasn't screaming to get out or anything. I did enjoy my job. But I think ever since like the age of, I don't know, call it 20. I'm 36 now, by the way. So you don't have to guess my age. From the age of 20, so 16 years ago, I knew, like I always knew there was something that I wanted to do something on my own. I just didn't know what it was. But from the time I went to university and finally figured out that, hey, I think maybe business is my thing, I think I knew that doing business for myself was my thing. And so it just took me this long to actually finally go and do it all in. So.
And support from your family and friends, how has that been?
For the most part, really good. When I decided to leave SaskTel, there was of course the questions about, like, are you sure you're going to walk away from that pension? Are you sure you can have a job for the rest of your life? And I'm like, that's the problem. I don't want a job for the rest of my life. I don't want to sit in this office for 40 more years. I know I can do that. I know this is a good paying job, and I know a lot of people would like to be where I am, but this isn't satisfying my own needs. So, I mean, they were supportive, but there was people that questioned, like, are you sure?
There's always the hesitation there, right?
Yeah.
So you said the idea of the Ultimate Deck Shop. What is the idea? What's the big picture?
I mean, the store started out of my frustration as a contractor when I was doing it on the side, when I was building on the side. So, like I said, for some reason, deck building became my passion, and I don't know why or when that happened, but I got really passionate about the industry and started doing a lot of research. Like, I would be sitting, people were sitting at home watching, I don't know, at that time it was probably Friends. I wasn't. I was like reading decking magazines or whatever, right? And so I started taking a big interest in learning about new products that were out there, just not here necessarily. And then 2 years ago, I decided to go to a big trade show down in the States that's all about decking. Like, it's just a huge trade show that's just nothing but decking products. And I decided I'm going to go to this thing and see this stuff in person and whatever. So I made that trip. But none of the local lumberyards wanted to help me get these products. They basically wanted me to buy what they had. They didn't want to be bothered.
You supply them, right?
Yeah, like I can't buy the stuff if it's not here. So I was trying to urge them to, like, can you get these certain things? And there was always some reason why they didn't want to do it for me. And so, as goofy as it sounds, I was like, well, I'm just going to do it myself. And so, like, it came out of a conversation with Wade, who was also a contractor at the time. And I was like, I'm just frustrated with nobody wanting to bring in these products. I want to build cooler decks, and these guys don't want to help me. We should just, I don't know, I should just start a store. And then 2 weeks later, Wade's like, we should start a store. So that was kind of the start of it.
Cool.
Yeah, no, that's really cool that you're actually able to take an idea and then actually make something out of it, because it's easier said than done. a lot of people have an idea. It's going to be, you know, what we're working on is the next big thing. You know, it's going to take off. Try to get some social media behind it, but it doesn't always work out. But you've actually had a lot of success through social media. I think Ultimate Deck Shop account has around 10,000 followers.
Ultimate Deck Shop has about 6,400, and the Fresh Decks account has just about 11,000.
11,000. So what's drawing people to your social media, and why is it being effective?
It's a little bit different for both accounts. So the Fresh Decks account, Fresh Decks is not my end goal. I enjoy the building part of it. I think it's helping the Ultimate Deck Shop because I've got a good reputation on that front, and the social media account is big. But I'm probably not going to be building forever. Like eventually I'm going to transition to the store, and we're going to focus on that more. But the way we're handling the accounts is a little bit differently. I don't advertise Fresh Decks at all. I still have the website up from years ago when I wanted to have a website up for it, and I'm still getting work from that. I use that Instagram account more just to connect with the contractor community online. So most of the people I don't know who the 11,000 are that are following me specifically, but most of the ones that are commenting on my stuff and engaging are other contractors in the States and in Canada, whatever. They're kind of, I guess, they're learning or being inspired by things that we're doing, because we're kind of building some cool things right now. So I think a lot of people are watching that account just because there's interest in how things are done or doing things differently or things they haven't seen before. So that's getting a big following that way. With the Ultimate Deck Shop, we're more interested in, for the most part, it's curated content. We started just kind of posting things that we were doing, but day-to-day in a retail store isn't that exciting. So, I mean, you're just posting pictures of yourselves, selling stuff, whatever. It's not that exciting. So it didn't really take off for us until I got the idea that, well, maybe we should just kind of highlight other contractors' work and just start inspiring people, kind of like almost create like a Pinterest board on Instagram and just post really cool projects that people probably aren't seeing here, but out there in the world, people are building these really cool things. So we started just kind of reposting things and giving shout outs. And once we started doing that, the account took off and people started following it because they loved seeing these ideas. So we kind of share those posts to Twitter and Facebook as well.
Has it increased your business revenue or helped your business in any way other than awareness?
Facebook for sure has. We get people that come in and see us on Facebook. I don't know that the Instagram one is as much. Again, because I think our following on Instagram is probably not as local. We've only got, I think, under 900 likes or followers on Facebook, but a lot of them are local people here. And with our Instagram account, the 6,400, I think a high majority of them are not local to us. They just enjoy the content we're posting. But that does help because we did start selling online this year as well. So we have sold some stuff online. So probably 2 of those people that are following us on Instagram. But also it just helps us engage with the community as a whole and with manufacturers and vendors and distributors that have products, and they now see that we're kind of a very active, kind of forward-thinking shop. And so if they've got a product they want to introduce somewhere, they kind of come to us first knowing that we're open to that kind of stuff. So it's helping us on that front more than anything.
Really cool. So also you've done some public speaking events. Where have you been, and how has that helped the people you've talked to?
I don't know if that's been too closely associated with the deck shop or anything. It's more of a kind of a personal journey for myself, more on the entrepreneurship side. I just enjoyed that community of entrepreneurship and talking about it. So I think this is really cool what you guys are doing. So I've been invited to some high schools, O'Neill and Riffle. I've done some speaking at their entrepreneurship classes. I've done the career fair at the university for Prairie Valley School Division. So just stuff like that, where it's kind of talking to kids that are maybe wanting to explore entrepreneurship. I came from a small town. I didn't have that kind of exploratory opportunity.
Other people to talk to that were self-employed.
Yeah. So yeah, I've done some of that, and just kind of engagements like this, and just kind of getting out there and just talking about it. It's fun.
Yeah. Yeah. Do you find that the awareness that you bring to yourself, talking to the kids and the other people that you've been involved with, has that brought more awareness to what you do as the Ultimate Deck Shop? And
it has, for sure. I don't know that we can tie back any direct correlation to sales off it, but I'd be lying if I said that every time I went to a speaking engagement, I didn't tell my partner that, hey, I'm going to talk to 30 kids who have parents who might need decks. Yeah. That's in my mind, right?
It's all about exposure, right? Overall.
At this point in the game, we're so new still that it really is just a matter of getting our name out there. So these 30 kids, they're all 16, 17 years old. Of course, they're not buying a deck today, but they may know somebody, or their parents might, their aunt or uncle might, or whatever. It's just a matter of getting your name out in the community. And I think the service that we're providing right now and the kind of the different business model wasn't here before we got here speaks for itself once people get there and experience it. So right now it's just a matter of people finding out about us.
What is that business model? What differentiates you from other places that are doing the same thing?
Yeah, so I mean, your options right now for buying decking in Regina are to go to any one of the big box stores. So that's your Rona's, your Lowe's, your Home Hardware's, your Home Depot's. You're not going to get any sort of specialized assistance, I'll say. That your product selection is fairly slim for the most part, especially on composite decking, which is kind of the big product nowadays. But more so, if you need help with anything, good luck. I mean, box stores have their place for sure, but as far as if you need someone to kind of handhold you
They're
through
just selling you something.
Right. If you know what you need, that's fine. But getting help at a place like that in building your project, that's not going to happen. The other option in town before we opened was going to a lumberyard. So, there's 4 or 5 big lumberyards in Regina. They're fairly intimidating for a DIY, for a homeowner to go to. They're more contractor focused. They're not decking focused. They're building focused. So they sell everything, like doors, windows, insulation, everything, right? So you're not really getting specialized service there either. So the idea of our store was to be able to help if somebody needs a deck project, no matter what stage they're at, whether they're just thinking about, like, we need to do something back there, or if they've got an idea on paper already and they just need help building it, or whatever, maybe it's half built and they just need help finishing, whatever it is, whatever level of service it is, we can help them with that. So we help right from the permitting process. We can do the permitting steps for you if you're interested in getting a permit. We can do the design process for you if you like. And then, of course, we help with all the material selection. We carry an obnoxious amount of selection as far as that's a big advantage for us as well. And we see it through right to the end. So we get a lot of customers that come in that need that hand-holding a little bit. So they buy their decking package and they'll call us 3 or 4 times during the process until it's finished. But at the end, they're so proud that they've done it themselves with their help from us. They come back at the end and show us pictures of what they did and whatnot, right? And that's a pretty cool feeling. So the other base we serve is the contractors. And so we're giving them a different experience as well because, I mean, first and foremost, the store is owned by 2 contractors, so we have an idea of what they want, right? And we know what we weren't getting at the other places, and we're trying to give that to them at our place. So the feedback we've gotten from contractors is pretty good as well.
I like the idea of like a full service contracting store that you can go to and you'll get what you need. Regina doesn't have things like that.
Yeah.
I don't know about anybody else's experience with contractors, but like I'm a realtor, so when I need something, I call and then I leave a message, and I'm polite and I just ask a question, and nobody gets back to me because they're busy, and it's just like contractor brain, right? People just operate differently than we do, and no offense, contractors are like a whole different breed of people, right? Yeah. So they have a different business model than a lot of others do.
Yeah, and that's the nice thing about us too, is that we almost act as a bit of a liaison between the homeowner and the contractor. So we do offer an install service, which we subcontract to contractors we work with and trust and have seen their work and whatnot. So it allows customers to come in and say, like, I don't want to take the risk of going and finding my own contractor. I just don't want to have to be home 3 times to meet people and do whatever. Just you handle it all. I just want to pay with my credit card and collect the miles and
there you go. And sit on my nice deck when it's all
done,
right?
Yeah, and so we'll take care of lining up a contractor for you that we know is good. Right? And you pay us. We have this location. We're not going anywhere. So it removes all the risk. It increases the trust, and in the end, they're happy, right? So it seems to be a really good process. Mm-hmm. The challenge with us, though, actually, is because, like you mentioned, there isn't that model in Regina right now. So we do struggle a little bit with people understanding what our store is. A lot of them think we're just a contractor. And so that at first was a little bit tough for us to get those contractors to come in because they thought that we were a contractor. We were just kind of, had our own yard of material. So once we kind of get the word out there that we're not contractors, like anybody can come here and buy, it will be super helpful for you. That, it's getting out there. And we explain to people that we're kind of like a kitchen store or like a cabinet store or a flooring store. In that you come in, you see all the samples, you pick out your stuff, and if you need the installation service, we sell that. But if you want to do it yourself, that's fine too. That's kind of the closest kind of related business we can think of.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Very cool.
So obviously you've hit a niche market where there hasn't been something like this before you, right? So there's a need, but you have to, in the end, you have to do good work, or else your reputation gets stained within the first year. But you've hit over your first year now with the Ultimate Deck Shop. And you're still going good. You're increasing your business. What's been the key? What's been the one thing or not one thing, obviously, because there isn't probably one, but what's been something that you attribute your growing success to?
I think because we still value the customer service probably at this point in the game more than the profits.
Yeah.
And maybe that's not maybe that's not a good strategy for long-term success. I don't know. And maybe it is. But I mean, at this point we go to the end of the world for every customer. So I'm not going to say we never make a mistake. We make mistakes all the time. It's busy. There's multiple people touching things. Mistakes happen, but it's how we react to those mistakes that really kind of sets us apart. So, we've had issues where, like last year, for example, we sent a deck package out to, I think it was past Lumsden somewhere, about 45 minutes away. I can't remember where it was, but the homeowner was there on a Sunday finishing his deck and realized, we missed a couple railing components. And we're not open on Sundays, but he called in or texted. That's another thing, you can text us. Like, we have customers text us all the time. That's kind of cool. Or Facebook message or whatever, right? And we ran it out to him that night. Wade got in his truck. He's like, we felt bad, right? Like, we're holding up somebody's project. They got to go work tomorrow. Mm-hmm. So off Wade went to the shop, grabbed the railing components, drove 45 minutes out there, got there. The customer was so happy at the end of that. Like, there was an opportunity there for him to be really mad about it. Mm-hmm. But I think he saw the effort we made to make it right. And so he showed up a week later with donuts and coffee at the shop and was like, you guys are like, there you go. That is amazing, right?
Customer service at its finest. Hey.
Just a couple weeks ago it happened again. We had an issue in Saskatoon. We sent a railing package to Saskatoon. We didn't send it. It was kind of delayed and whatnot, and it was holding up the contractor and the homeowner. And so it was like, at some point I decided to take ownership of it. We made it right, and I sent a guy there at 5 o'clock on a Friday. He got left our shop at 5, had to do some other things, and then got to Saskatoon at like 9 o'clock at night to make a delivery. We made no money on that job whatsoever, but it was about saving that the relationship with that contractor, right? Because we didn't want to lose that.
Because business is relationships, right? Yeah. Word of mouth will get you farther than anything else. And if you start to take back and not give within that relationship between the business owner to the customer, that's going to be spread around faster than anything else. Like, you do a good job for someone and they might tell a couple people, but you do a bad job and it's everywhere, right? Yeah,
bad news spreads way faster than good news, that's for sure. And that's something that Wade and I sit down with our staff and remind them from time to time. Mm-hmm. It's like, something will happen and we're like, you know what, you're not thinking about this big enough. That wasn't the loss of $500. That was the loss of potentially tens of thousands of dollars and our image of the store, right? So you got to fix everything, no matter. It's going to cost you $50. It's going to cost you $50. That's not the make or break.
Yeah. No matter how much the world changes, being good to people will always be one of the most valuable things in business. Mm-hmm. And that will never change. Yeah. That's never going to go away.
Yeah. And I think nowadays when people know that that's eroding a little bit, to find that again somewhere, it almost takes people back a little bit. It just kind of catches them off guard. Like,
you like me. I'm a good customer.
You don't do that for me? Why are you doing that?
So nice. What's the catch here?
Yeah. So I mean, between Wade and I, we see our customers out and about all the time now. Like, our trips to Costco are way more fun now because we'll see like 4 of our customers there, right? So, and we're like, it's almost not that we're going to go and have supper together, but we're almost friends with them now, right? Like, we know them, we spent time with them through their project, we helped them out, and now we've got a relationship there that lasts beyond the project. And they're not going to come buy another deck from us in 5 years. Like, these things last a long time. But that doesn't matter.
They're going to tell people about you forever, right? When when they have family and friends over in the summer and they're standing on that deck, they're going to go, "Oh, Shane and Wade were great."
Yeah, and it's really cool to go, to do a delivery at one house and look at the neighbors this side, the neighbor that side, and the one next to it, and see that like all 4 of those decks came from your store. And it's because people talk,
right? It's a good feeling. Feels great. It's an awesome feeling on the inside.
Yeah.
So Shane, you're married, is that correct?
I am.
You are. Okay, so I know a lot of people are wondering, we like to get real on the show because we want people to know the actual journey of being an entrepreneur, right? We have families, we have kids. But you're married and you've got 2 kids. One youngest is 6 months old. Yep. Talk to us about the work-life balance. You're talking about driving to Saskatoon on a Friday at 5 o'clock at night. How have you managed to do that?
I'm still learning. So, how I answer this, I'm about to answer this question is probably a lot different than how my wife would answer it for me, to be quite honest. So to be clear, I didn't go to Saskatoon that night. I sent an employee to Saskatoon that night, and he's single, so it was okay. he offered. So
well, that's good. That's good.
You know what? Last year, I feel like I'm getting better at it this year. Last year, Wade and I, we've never owned a lumberyard before. Where do you start, right? So there was a lot of late nights, and a lot of times we felt like we just cannot leave right now. There's too much to do. We can't leave all this inventory sitting on the road. Like, it has to go away before we go home. So I mean, last year I was probably not as good at it. I'd be getting home, I don't know, something like an early night was like 8 o'clock at night, and you're gone at 6 in the morning, kind of thing.
Yeah.
A late night could have been 2, 3 in the morning, and there's still some of those too. But this year, especially now because we've got the newborn baby and stuff too, I'm trying to be a lot better at just kind of like, okay, it's 5:30, the store closes at 5, like wind things down, find another time to do this, or do it later tonight. Like go home and enjoy that 6:30 to 9 o'clock time with the family, and then if you can stay awake, try to tackle some of the other stuff later.
Yeah,
but
go back.
I mean, my baby goes to bed at 7:30, right? So if I don't get home, then I don't see him for an entire day because I'm usually up and gone before he wakes up again. So it's a big struggle. I'm still learning it, and like it's important to do for sure. Like I know my wife at times feels super lonely, so you gotta try to balance it, but
she's definitely not the only one, right?
Yeah.
Like for all of us who have spouses and partners, I mean, they love us and they just put up with us,
Yeah.
right? It's for the love and support that we couldn't do it without you guys either way, though, right? Like we need their support and love and unconditional kicks in the ass to remind us that they're
and you know
still
what?
in the picture.
She's amazing. She is more than understanding and more than supportive and everything. It's and maybe I take advantage of that sometimes. So when she gets pushed to a point where it's kind of like, I need you to be home a little bit. Like I want to spend some time with you.
She'll let you know.
I can't. Yeah, she'll let me know. And it's like at that point I know that I'm like, okay, well I've pushed it too far, right? Like I know that I do need to. I need to stop for a second and spend some time at home. And she's been patient enough. So.
Yeah, well, that's really cool. Like even just to hear your perspective on that, because I think a lot of us are in a situation where we like what we do, or we maybe want to try something new, but we got a family. We've got a family that we have to take care of and provide a paycheck for. That's a big component of it, right? Because you don't know where that next paycheck's coming from sometimes.
Yeah,
and you've got to be there and spend time with them. So it is definitely an issue balancing your work and your life. And what advice, I guess, I like to ask this question because I think everyone can offer advice in different stages of their life. If someone was in your position 2 years ago looking to go full-time, self-employed, what advice would you give them as to how to get started on that?
I mean, the path I took was to do as much of the legwork as possible before you step out, because nobody wants to step. You don't want to quit your job and then decide to learn what you want to do. If you can do as much of that back here while you're still earning an income, don't try to be a dumb employee at your current job and like waste their time. But just use that time, your evenings, whatever, your breaks, whatever, to kind of research what you're wanting to do and kind of get as much of that out of the way as you can before you quit your job. I didn't quit my job until March 6th, I think was my last day, and we opened the store on April 2nd. So from like November till March 6th, like I was doing a lot of work for the store. We were building the store evenings and weekends, right? We were researching, we were finding out who we have to buy stuff from. We had no idea how to do any of this, but we had 5 months to learn it. But I didn't quit until March 6th. So when I quit, it was like when I just couldn't possibly work anymore. Like the store opens right away, the home shows right away. We have to be done. So I think that's it. And like I said before, I did a lot of dabbling and stuff for the last 15, 16 years before I actually took the leap. So I was a professional in dabbling, kind of doing that on the side. So for me, it was no different. I was already working lots.
Yeah.
So I think the advice would be to kind of learn your trade, know your stuff inside and out before you go giving up that pension and that paycheck, and then get started. And there's nothing wrong with that, right? If anything, it's probably the smarter way to go about it. Know what you're doing and what you're offering before you start offering it. I guess, right?
So we had Wyatt Heiberg on our first show, and Wyatt was he went straight out of high school into the trade, or not the trades, but into potash. And he worked and put his nose down, made a bunch of money, and decided that, okay, now I want to go to school, and now I want to learn what I want to do. And on the side, he's now doing photography and all this cool stuff. But when you look at today, if you would have gone back to when you're 18 years old, did you go right to university out of high school?
Yeah.
Okay. Would you have done that over again?
Man, that's such a tough question. I feel like my opinion is changing. I don't know if it's the older that I get or the further into my career change I get. I'm not sure, but I did go to university right out of high school, but having no idea what I wanted to do. So I came to the U of R. I enrolled in kinesiology and health science because I didn't know, but I knew I wanted something sports related, and I guess that was my way of kind of not leaving the sports world. Found out within the first year that wasn't my thing, and went to business right away. Boy, if you in high school, if you know you want to do your own thing, then I'm not so sure that college is a good route to go anymore. I'm still paying off student loans, and I don't know that it's valuable to, like, what I learned in university probably doesn't help me a whole lot here.
Right.
I didn't take any entrepreneurship classes. I took business classes, sure, but the experience I had from working at SaskTel or working other jobs was far more important and prepared me more for this current endeavor than university did, I think. I always attribute the biggest thing that I got out of university was the ability to speak in front of other people, because I remember coming out of high school, I was very nervous to stand up in front of 40, 50 people and do a presentation. Yeah. And university allowed me to work those kinks out. I don't know that that's worth $30,000. Like, I feel like I could have done that a different way. But I don't know that I'm referring back to textbook knowledge from university in my day-to-day now. So
sometimes university just gives you some important life skills, right?
Sure.
Right.
I don't regret going, that's for sure. Like, it was the best 9 years of my life, as you say. But, it was good. But if I knew at 18 years old that I wanted to start a lumberyard, I don't think there's anything at university would have taught me. I think just we knew nothing 5 months prior, and we just busted our butts and learned in 5 months.
Figured it out.
Yeah.
All right, Shane, why don't you tell us where we can find you on social media?
Social media on Instagram, freshdex.ca is kind of my personal / contractor account. The Ultimate Deck Shop is our store account on Instagram. Same with Facebook, look it up, Ultimate Deck Shop. We will be putting out some YouTube stuff at some point here, but when we find time.
So there's some cool drone videos on your Instagram, is that right?
Yeah, on the freshdex.ca page, there's a few drone videos in there. You got to weed through the other stuff.
Well, we'll check those out. Thanks so much, Shane, for coming on our show today. We really enjoyed having you here.
Thank you, guys.